each hand. Siren stutter, crew runs blind. Russian curses spill behind. Dripping pipes drum overhead. Every shadow wants them dead. Surf ninja beach boogie on a midnight raid. Spirit dance spinning with a bloody blade. Keep that iron fleet trembling at the edge of the waves. Surf ninja beach boogie in the ocean waves. Chart room shaking, maps take flight. Hydrophone hissing light. Periscope spin sees the shore. Mask and board on the water's roar. On the swells they draw their line. Bare feet stamping, beating time. Salt on lips, toes in sand. Spirit dance kills every command. Surf ninja beach boogie on a midnight raid. Oh yeah. Spirit dance burning through the crimson chain of command. Keep that iron fleet drifting far away from our land. Surf ninja beach boogie till they understand. Left foot, right foot, healing foam. Call the storm and send them home. Decks run red, the ghost advance, but the tide swings wide for the spirit dance. Surf ninja beach boogie, shake the breaking waves. Spirit dance rising like a tidal wave. Keep that iron fleet turning back the way it came. Surf ninja beach boogie, remember the name.
Howdy, howdy, it's your old pal, Tiki the Hut. Thanks for joining me again on another Too Late Tonight with Tiki. Alright, as you can tell, I've made a little bit of progress on some of my models. Getting ready for the big game on Tuesday. Super excited. My wife helped me with the banner. That's all Mrs. Tiki's work there. Give me a nice little flag. And I've been cranking out terrain. I now have the docks finished, and I think I got like some bigger sized bases, you know, like some probably like this big, like bigger ones, and I put like trees on them. I think I did like 10 or 12 of those. I mean, just a shit ton of trees. So we're all caught up. Hey, what's going on, Jenny, Tom, RK, what's going on, y'all? Yeah, I thought so. Mrs. Tiki, as always, knocked it out of the park. Yeah, that's definitely an attention getter. So I'm pretty excited. Yeah, now the camera isn't as mad at it anymore. The camera used to like freak out about the whole huge white flag. Alright. Alright. Let me get a brush and we'll just get started because I got a lot to paint. A lot to paint that I'll do it with. How's everybody else doing? Anybody else painting or working on something? Is it just me? Even cameras get weird around the French, exactly. I asked my camera about that and it says I blame Coco Chanel, so I'm not sure what that's about. The camera wouldn't, you know, tell me anymore, so. Well, hopefully the stream helps your work go by a little bit better. Yeah, so now that I kind of spilled the beans about it, RK, again, feel free to tell Mrs. RK if she's still up to do the 750 mission. But yeah, I'll be painting up some partisans, you know. That's why I saw you painting yours. I gotta paint some up too. That's like our neutral bad guy force, or neutral opposing force. Friend team, oh, I love it. So I'm glad y'all are here because I have a question for the chat, for the greater chat, for those who are more wise than I in painting. Help me decide for an urban slash like street basing. Do y'all like what's it called? I think Morning was talking about it. Astro. That's not Astro Turf. It's Astro Gravel, or I think AK makes a asphalt basing. But already the asphalt basing is just gonna turn out black. It's just gonna turn out like like black basing. So not much different than the actual base. No, partisan. Nice. I like the joke at chess. Good wordplay. The city is a secret. There's a good deal, and I'm a sucker for a good deal. It's like girl math, you know. I'm like, oh, it's on sale, so I saved this much money. So I picked up a combat patrol for a possible secondary 40k army. So I'm thinking I may base them in an urban setting. I'm not sure if I'm ready to reveal what they are yet. Yeah, we'll go under Hive, yeah. So I'm going to paint their flesh Bugman Glow, and then I'm going to try and go over it with Gilliman Flesh and see how that looks. Well, I think, actually, you know what? I forget about it. Sorry, my memory's kind of shot. I think I talked about it last stream, actually. Yes, Ginny's right. It is GSC. That was the army I tried to come to in 9th, and no one played in my area, so I forgot about that. I did talk about it, yeah. Oh, nice. It's a good idea, RK. So, I will tell you guys the theme, because I didn't want two Mad Max style armies, you know? Like, I like G-Ziller Colt, and I love the Rusty Claws like that, but I already have my Mad Max style orcs that I love, that I'm still working on. I'm up to about 1,500 points, you know? So I was sitting here, I was thinking, it's like, what do I want to do for this this G-Ziller Colt, right? I played some games. I tried to think about it. I played some Darktide, you know, and you can get the new Underhive Ganger. And so, of course, I decked mine out in like purple clothing and like purple face paint, and I made her bald, so I called her Tina 3-Armed. So far, one person I played with has like got that, like, hey, wait a minute, you know. But I was thinking about it, and I think I found what I want to do for the G-Ziller Colt army. So I think I'm going to recover, because I've already bought some of the paint. So I'm going to use the paint I had for a separate project for this project. And I'm going to go with, if you're ready for it, Necromunda Vice. Instead of focusing on any one of the major like GSE factions or any one of the detachments, I'm just going to kind of build these models kind of middle of the road and just wait to see how the detachments and how the rules flow in and out of 11th, you know? Right, yeah. Because I really like the look of Necromunda, House Escher, like the female gangers, and they're known for dealing in a lot of drugs and stuff like that. And some of the G-Ziller Colt detachments, it's all about, you know, your biomagus and what drugs you're taking and how you're affecting the evolution. I'm like, that would be kind of cool. I'm like, if I like really lean into it. We're thinking more 80s, so it's very Miami Vice style. Like the leader's gonna be a Primus, You know, so I'm gonna try and find like a detective kind of in a suit, give him a third arm, you know, but paint it kind of like a white leisure suit, you know, have it be like Captain Crockett, you know. For the icon bear, give his, you know, in this other, or in one of his arms. I'm sorry, he has 3. Maybe not the icon bear, maybe another model. Probably the Nexus. I'll probably get a Nexus, you know, give him a little sawed-off shotgun in one hand and make him Inspector Tubbs. I feel like that could be really fun. I got the idea because I was hunting around on Etsy and I found some vehicles like the old. So if you've ever seen the old Gene Stealer cult stuff, the cult leaders had these like badass like armored limousines and shit like that. So I think I may get some of those, you know, to run for vehicles and kind of paint them up like Miami Vice vehicles. Yeah, so a cool pro tip, I shouldn't say pro tip, not a pro, but a fun tip. Anytime you're kind of feeling out an idea, one thing I like to do, and it doesn't cost anything, which is the best part, go to Hero Forge, the website, and build a model that matches the army that you're working on. Like, I built a somewhat, like, Gene Stealer cultist, you know, even gave him, like, a bald head with the little ridges and shit like that. And then put the clothing on that matches the uniform as best as possible. Same thing with the weapons, all that other kind of stuff. Doesn't have to be perfect, just get it close, you know, like. And then go into the paint section, and then you can actually paint the model and like spin it 360 and everything. So it's a really great way of testing out paint jobs. I highly recommend it if you're sitting there debating about what you want to do. But other than that, I worked today, and I built a shit ton of tree terrain. Just shit tons of big bases filled with palm trees. Anybody else do anything exciting? Yeah, they're hard to paint. Yeah, I can see that. The cool thing is with the whole, like, Necromunda Vice thing, I can actually paint the Gene Stealers. This is something I really want to do. I know it sounds cheesy, but I've always liked the actual Gene Stealers, because I've always liked, I got started in Battlefleet Gothic, and I always liked Space Hulk. So I wanted to paint my Gene Stealers in the actual traditional colors, you know, purple skin, blue carapace, black claws. So that's actually going to fit in real well with the style of paint scheme that I'm going for the Gene Stealer cult. Probably the last of your axes. That's nice. That's awesome. Just entered your weekend. Ah, congratulations. I hope it's a good weekend. I work the weekends, so my weekend is technically Monday and Tuesday, but I often work Tuesday. So usually my weekend is Monday. That's why if you guys, I'm really bad about responding to messages usually, but especially on like Mondays or Tuesdays. So if you send me something, please bear with me. I promise I'll try and get to it. If I miss it, feel free to shoot me another message. I do my best. But if it's on a Monday, I probably won't respond. No offense. That's my one day. And often on my Mondays, I drive up to Warfire Games. That not sponsored, but that's definitely my favorite place to play in the state of Florida. Howdy, howdy, what's going on? How you doing, Matthew? Damned Legion, how you doing? We are painting. I know you asked yesterday. We hit the ground running painting. Getting there. Messenger pigeon. So I've never seen a full episode, but I mean to. I keep seeing clips on YouTube, and they're absolutely hysterical. Of I think it's Black Adder. It's the Mr. Bean actor, but he's in like World War I British. Man, it looks hysterical. I keep watching this clip of them like shooting a pigeon for food, and it turns out to be a carrier pigeon. I need to watch that. That looks great. Hey, what's going on, old gamer dad? How you doing, buddy? We're working up on finishing up these native riflemen. Got a little bit of paint on them during the day, but I focused more on getting terrain done. We're just doing Bugman's Glow, and then once I do that, as you can tell, Bugman's Glow is just a little too, I think, pink for these native men, you know? So I think once we're done with Bugman's Glow, I think we're going to use Gilliman Flesh and kind of darken it down a little bit. Well, props on you for hitting the gym, Matthew. And it's always an admirable quality. Temporary inconvenience for long-term mental and physical health benefits. I struggle going. That's why I usually have to do my workouts like right when I wake up, because I'm still in a bad mood because I just woke up, you know. But if I do that and I knock it out, then I'm done for the rest of the day. I don't have any more time in the day to convince myself and justify not working out. If that makes sense. Because I feel like I can talk me into anything, including not working out or going to the gym. So you guys excited for the new book coming out? I know some people already have early access. I think some people are starting to make lore videos about it, which is kind of cool. From what I hear, it seems like they're changing a good amount of the lore. It's kind of still similar, but a little bit different from what it used to be. So. Ooh, yeah, that might be pretty cool. Hey, what's going on? How's it going? Welcome to the chat. Is it Santa? Yeah, we'll go with Santa. Sure, you'll correct me if that's not correct. Yeah, same. Once I finish these natives, I'm gonna go back and finish my blue division for our European game. So yeah, all I did was I took these guys. I added a braid. They came with more of like a breathing mask, you know. And then I added a jetpack, and there we go. These will be my my Falcon airborne troops for my Axis Blue Division. Bringing it Spanish style up into Russia. Let's see how it goes. But yeah, I saw your post, or I saw your answer to my question. Okay, yeah, so I'm trying to think what's the best and easiest basing for like a Necromunda style thing. And I'm thinking just Astrograv. I think what Morty did, Astrogravel with Nolan oil over it. Oh yeah, Blue Division's really interesting. So, I mean, they they were the antithesis of Germans. So they learned to fight from the other French style. So, you know, they're not mobile. They're used to like taking and holding ground, you know, and they don't like ducking or cowering down or anything like that. They're just there to fight, you know. So they were the absolute antithesis of Germans, who like, you know, professional, high mobility, you know, stuff like that. So there was a lot of we'll call it growing pains between the two, and ideology differences. You know, a lot of the Spanish there were just there to fight communists because they saw what communism did to their country, so they were all on board for that. But they weren't necessarily on board with all the other stuff the Germans were doing, so there's a lot of stuff where it's like, I mean, we won't get too much into it, but they kept fighting over stuff, and they hated how the Spanish never wore their uniforms. So there's like, medals and uniforms are stupid. We know who we are. Germans like, no, you have to be prim and proper. Like, no, we don't. We're fine. So the Germans had nothing but complaints until when the Soviets attacked. And Germans are good, but they're not necessarily good at holding ground. They're a very mobile, rapid force. The Spanish were the exact opposite. Like, no, we will absolutely hold this to the last fucking man. Like, oh my god, okay, yeah, these guys who have archaic French-style, you know, siege warfare-style tactics, like the Maginot Line style stuff, it ended up being a really good balance with the Germans, because the Germans would advance, take ground, and then bring up the undisciplined Spanish, you know, slap the wine botas out of their mouths and hands, and stick them in the ground, like, alright, stay here and hold this, and the Spanish would hold it during the inevitable, you know, Soviet counterattack, and then the Germans would jump up and take the next point. At first the Germans hated until they saw them fight. They're like, oh my god. And they still yelled at them because, like, they refused to take cover from artillery, so they lost plenty of guys to, like, shell fragments and stuff, but apparently they were absolutely nasty, and the Soviets did not like fighting the Spanish. Not at all. And they had no serious NCO corps. I mean, they had a couple officers here and there, but everyone was mostly just, they were veterans from fighting in North Africa and then fighting in their own Spanish Civil War. So they didn't really have any non-coms. They just kind of had like a very like senior machismo style culture. So the Germans just absolutely did not understand how the Spanish did anything. When you go back and you read like first-hand accounts, it's absolutely hysterical about how much they just absolutely did not get along until it was time to actually fight. Alright. Get a sip of the drink here. Today we went with a simple Sailor Jerry with Coke Zero and some grenadine. Yeah, I really liked when I read them. I was like, hey, these guys kind of play like Japanese Germans. This is kind of cool. When you read the compendium, I was like, hell yeah, this is awesome. And their uniform, I tried to get. It's not historical, but it's alternate history based. So they didn't have these long blue coats, but there's pictures of them wearing blue shirts, tan pants, and their characteristic red berets. So that's what I kind of went for. But I got them more situated for winter, so they kind of have these longer blue coats. Make them look very, very telltale, very different. You know, here's a guy with a knife fighters. Hey, Cosmic, what's going on? Nice. Yeah, I know a guy. Who I think it's Squidfist actually. I think Squidfist is the big Talaran Desert guy. I just thought about you. I saw your message, David Legion, about the Metal Armain or Harim, however you pronounce his name. Squidcutter Sean, we are painting up the rest of my native riflemen. All day long I worked on terrain, so that way I wouldn't be burned out. This is just the base coat. When we finish this Bugman Glow, we're gonna hit it with Gilliman Flesh. Oh, nice. Actually, RK, I was looking at some DAC stuff. I was thinking about making some bolt action legal, or more bolt action appropriate Blue Division, but I was gonna make it with DAC. DAC with red berets. And then, of course, add in a bunch of, like, partisan models here and there, because they're also notorious for not wearing uniforms. The Spanish, someone would actually just fight in their civilian clothes. That would actually be a really cool alternate history thing. I don't think it's very historically plausible, but to have this whole thing like Spain remaining neutral as like a trick, and they're waiting to mobilize their force. Then out of nowhere, they make a deal with the Imperial Japanese as part of the Axis and make a play for the Philippines. That would be really cool. That way it frees up the Japanese forces on the Philippines, and they can further push out. That'd be kind of a cool alternate little campaign. Because you could just play it as playing with Imperial Japanese and German models and just call the German models Blue Division. Or not even Blue Division, just Spanish. Just play with the Blue Division rules. Oh, yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. Yeah. I'm a sucker for a good Rioja. Like I said, I actually had Spanish champagne the other day. It was really good. And then, RK, I seen that recipe for a drink someone sent me. They're talking about mixing rum and sake. I was like, I've never heard of mixing rum and sake. And then they sent me something with sparkling sake. I was like, I never even heard of sparkling sake. So, that was something to look into. I think it was Kava. I don't know. I'll have to. I took a picture. I'll have to go check on my phone later. Sorry, I don't remember off the top of my head. Yeah. Midori is always good in any kind of like Japanese themed drink. It's true, and it's a good color. I think it's a tiki staple. A lot of people who drink tiki drinks don't think Midori is like a staple to have in your bar. I do, not just for the exotic flavor, but for the color as well. I think Midori does a lot of good work. Alright guys, we're getting these native guys painted up. So we're doing all skin tone first. Well, I meant like, if you have a stocked Tiki bar, Midori should be one of the bottles you have, you know? Instead of things like elderflower liqueur, which don't get me wrong, it has its place, of course. You know, but like... I do like, I know it's very American and tourist of me, but I do like hot sake and cold beer. I think those two mix really, really well. Alright. Inspecting this model close up, hitting any parts that I missed here before I grab the next one. But yeah, if you can see, Mrs. Tiki free-handed my flag for me. I think she did a kick-ass job. Of course, I'm partial. It's my awesome wife. I think it looks great. And either way, I'm happy to use it because I can always say, "Hey, my wife painted that," you know. I have not had a pineapple scotch. That is interesting. I'm happy to answer that. So, oh shit, hopefully I don't get this wrong. These flag arms I got from Mad Robot Miniatures. So I often order a lot of bits from Anvil. Let's see, who do I order? I order from Anvil. I like Anvil, Victoria Miniatures, and I like Mad Robot Miniatures. That goes all the way back to when I did Guard in like 6th and 7th, right? I like Mad Robot sometimes the best, or it's the first one I go to because I think they're in the States. So shipping doesn't kick my ass here, you know, in the States, and I get it reasonably quick. But yeah, these flag arms. This beret head with the the ventilation mask and these jetpacks are all from Mad Robot. Decently priced, not too crazy. Yeah, the flag arms, I want to say, I forget what the other arm technically is that it comes with, but it comes with like another set of arm. But it's not crazy priced, and it's a good way to put like flag guys into your force, you know? As I get older, I'm starting to really like when people put flags in, you know? One of the cooler orc armies I saw, somebody had a legit like 2,000 point orc army. I think they ran it as Green Tide, but it was all Blood Axe. I think I sent the pictures to Squick or Sean, or I think he sent them to me, I can't remember. But every squad the guy had was different. They all had different flags. It was the coolest, one of the coolest orc armies I've seen. It was a big, huge, giant Blood Axe army, and they all had flags. I loved it. None of their camo match. It was all mismatched and shit. It was pretty cool. But yeah, not sponsored, but I highly recommend. Those are my 3 go-to usuallys for bits, for like if you're doing Imperial Guard or stuff like that, or anything else. Anvil, Victoria, and Mad Robot. Between those 3, you'll generally find what you're looking for. Oh yeah, those would be great for Soviet stuff. Absolutely. They even have some smaller ones too, like they'll have like cavalry flags, like the little pennants. Or guidons, whatever you want to call it. As you can see, during the day I worked on my my discount Jaguar Warriors, who I've basically just painted green, so they kind of blend in better. Also worked on the one of the mini side projects I'm working on. I know I'm gonna get beat to the punch on lore stuff. I don't have early access, and I know people are already, as Conflict 47 is getting popular, like lore videos for Warhammer 40k are very successful for people to do. So it makes Conflict 47 an untapped market. So I'm sure you're already gonna start to see it. I think somebody already did. I think Black Library or Live from Black Library or something like that. He's already starting to do the lore for Conflict 47, so I knew someone would jump to it before I could, which is perfectly fine, but I think what I'm going to try and, I guess, specialize, I'm still going to do lore videos myself, my unique style, but this way I'm not in a rush. But I think the unique video I'm going to try and do, a very Tiki style, something I really enjoy, so I'm going to try and set up good ambient stuff. I have one out there, it was just a test, it's my, you know, you're like in a grizzly walker motor pool and the battle's happening in the background. So I want to come up, the first project I'm working on is I'm using the same program that I used to generate all my little AI songs. I'm using that to come up with background music, you know, like World War II style battle music, you know, and I'm gonna be mixing that with like combat sounds, like artillery, gunfire, stuff like that. I'm gonna set it to like a big 2 to 3 hour mix, and then my whole purpose with that is to make it copyright free. That way, channels like Mike Rolls Dice, who likes to live stream his battle reports, they can actually have that music on in the background. It matches the game they're playing, you know, and they don't have to worry about copyright or getting struck while they're streaming or anything else like that. So that's what I'm gonna kind of work on. And then once I have like one general one out, I'm gonna try and make one, you know, for Bolt Action versus Conflict 47 for all the different theaters. You know, in each theater you use specific sound effects, you know, like snow blizzard sounds and Russian and German shouting and, you know, bears roaring and stuff like that for like a winter themed. Reminds me of a wise drunk uncle. Fair enough, that's pretty fucking on the nose. Nice, cool, got a shine. Yeah, see, a lot of people like it, like to use it, so it's definitely something I want to do. Nice. That actually sounds cooler, okay? And I think if 11th edition, Warhammer 40k has a Crusade or narrative mode, I think I definitely will do that. It'll probably be on a different channel. I'll probably upload that on the Quiet Order Gaming channel. But I think I'll definitely do that. Maybe stream one Sunday a month. Not during these times, but like during an offset time, you know? Just to kind of cover that kind of stuff, you know, I'm working on those models. We'll see. We'll see how it turns out. I reached out to Bad Rabbit, got a chance to talk to him. He's doing alright from what I could tell. Got a chance to talk to him today, it was nice. He's been 3D printing and busy building stuff. And on the thing we talked about yesterday, Ospec Tactics put out a video today, and he actually gave credit for the leak to Red One Goes Fasta, which is kind of cool. He even linked this video, which is nice, so that was kind of cool to see. Yeah, sorry, you don't need to hear me beat my mic. It's probably because I'm banging my my paint pot on the table. And yes, quicker to shine, I still do think Citadel paint pots are the superior. And I'm probably still going to call them Citadel, even though they're going to change their name, I guess. Heresy dropper bottle of future. Well, I do have, so I have one, I think. This is my only dropper bottle. Like I said, this will definitely be being used for the Necromunda device thing. But I do use a lot of the AK diorama terrain stuff now. I am solely conversant on that. Which is where I was talking earlier in the chat. I was asking the chat, and RK answered me, but I'd love to get your opinions quick on Sean. And others, of course. So I'm going for a Necromunda device, you know, Gene Stealer Cult army. So a very, you know, Undercity Hive kind of thing. So for basing, and it's probably going to be a troop heavy army. So for basing, I'm curious what's the best way to get a easy to replicate, mass produced urban base. Do I do the way Morty was talking about in the stream where I get Astro Granite, put that down, and then just cover that in Nolan oil? I think AK Diorama, I think they have a asphalt. That might be cooler for some of the vehicle bases. Hey, Squidfist, what's going on, buddy? We are getting some painting done. I'm doing skin tone right now. Do nothing the way Tim says. Oh, that's so good. Okay, so actually, a good conversation. So some people in this chat were there today, during Mike Rolls Dice. So Mike Rolls Dice was doing a really cool battle report where he let his chat decide what one of the armies did. So, a thing popped up about the Totem Corps. So the Totem Corps have a rule, and if I have it off the top of my head, I believe it's rules as written. It says at any point, they can expend their Rift Dice and bring back, you know, ever so many zombies, right? Now, their exhausted penalty says, hey, if they have an exhausted Rift Dice, they cannot run, including, you know, run as part of a charge. Hey, what's going on, Swark? How you doing, buddy? So, they asked, like, hey, how do you guys like to rule this? And before I get to anything, you know, he's like, oh, I know Mordian says this, this, and that. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I looked at it, and I'm like, well, it's rules as written. As you have a very slim window where you can run them, then bring back their, you can run them, bring them back, and then declare that charge. Because you've already kind of ran them, the orders are already down, so you're perfectly fine. So it may seem kind of scummy, I guess, but that's, you know, I was like, it's a very small window. If you forget, you forget. You know, so like it's kind of sucks. It's a very narrow window. It's not really exploitable, I guess. And then again, they're a Rift Tech unit, so that's their gimmick. Now you can't like bring them back and then try and run them. Like if that rift dice doesn't come back normal, it stays expended, then yeah, you're hosed. So I don't risk it with my Shibito, so I play it totally different. But then they're trying to say like, oh no, people are saying like that's not how it's supposed to be, so let's not play it that way. And I was like, yeah, I wouldn't say that, because once you open that Pandora's box, then what about, you know, the wub guns and the daughters and the bears, and you're gonna start pulling apart all this kind of stuff, you know? I was like, you gotta, for your own sanity, either house rule or play rules as written. But the whole funny comment was, the whole funny comment was because he was like, oh, but Morning Glory is like, I get that. I was like, he's a great guy. I was like, but I wouldn't say he's always right. Because the point I brought up, and something I've always disagreed with Morning on, and it's not to start drama or anything like that. I think he knows this is just my style, is how ambush and recce or reconnaissance work. You know, if I put I always say my orders out loud. I'm like, hey, I'm putting this guy on ambush. Go ahead and pull another dice, you know, or pull another die. So I'll say what model I'm putting on ambush, and I'll put a giant, usually red and white Japanese order die that says ambush right next to the unit. So once I do that, I don't remind anyone he's on ambush. If you walk in front of him, you're gonna get shot. Rough neighborhood. I don't know. Same thing with reconnaissance. When I do my list build, when I show them my list, I'm like, hey, this vehicle and this vehicle have reconnaissance or recce. I was like, okay, cool. Now, if someone asks me, be like, hey, which tank had reconnaissance? I'm like, oh, it's that one. I won't lie to you. I won't hide the truth. I think that's shitty. It's just a tabletop game. But I'm not going to constantly remind you, like, oh, hey, before you move, don't forget this guy has recce. If it's a teaching game, of course I'll do that. Teaching games are totally different. But same thing with the whole ambush. I'm not going to be like, oh, before you move there, I'm ambushed. Are you sure you want to do that? No, I'm not going to say anything. I'm like, I told him he was on ambush. If he forgot, that's not reading the battlefield. Like, because same thing, it's a slippery slope, you know? Like, how much do you help the other player? I don't want to be a jerk or anything, but people are like, well, if I win, I want to win by skill and not by subterfuge. I'm like, it's in the rule book. It says ambush and reconnaissance. Like, it's a tough kind of middle ground, but I think maybe it may be more of like a proper British friendly, like, oh hey, don't forget I have this. Oh, don't forget I have this. Like I said, I'll never be rude about it. I'm never gonna trick you, but I'm like, oh hey, you know. Now, if someone asks me like, hey, don't you have somebody on ambush? I'm like, yeah, it's this guy right here. Like I said, if you ask, of course, I'm going to help you out, because I want you paid money for your models, and you painted your models, and you brought them to the game. I want you to be able to try and get off whatever it is you're trying to do to the best of your abilities, right? But I'm also not going to play your army for you. I think it's a fine line. But like I said, it's one of the many things me and MG disagree on, which is fine. You know, different people have different stuff. That's totally fine. I don't think it's scummy at all. Again, all they have to do is ask. But no, I don't like to volunteer that kind of stuff. Because I recently found out what made me feel better about that ideology is playing that game of Warhammer 40k, where my opponent knew all of my stratagems, but I didn't know all of his stratagems because I don't have a Necrite Codex. I don't have access to what his stratagems are. So he was pulling these stratagems I was like, I never heard of. I was like, okay, I'll just believe you. And then when I pulled my stratagem, he was like, oh, you should have told me before you pulled that stratagem. I would have done something different. That's a gotcha move. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what? Tiki beef. No, not beef at all. No. No, this is a point I've made before multiple times, but it came up again because we were talking about the whole Totencore thing. So I was like, hey, if you're asking me, unless you have a group of people you regularly play with, so unless you have a dedicated house rule, then play it rules as written. That's the best, to me, it's the best way to do it. Even if you don't like it, there's some stuff that rules as written, I feel like I get shafted on, but I'm like, that's what it says. That's unfortunate. Now, you can always house rule, and that's totally fine as long as everybody agrees. You know, and as long as you maintain the same group of people, you're fine. But what I don't like is when people try and push. A great example, you can talk to RK. I have a lot of house rules that I like, but I try not to push this off on people. I'll always offer them, like, hey, this is what I've done in the past. How do you like those? How do you like these rules ideas? People will be like, oh, I like them or I don't like them. But I also run my events. So when I run my events, I can put in my own rules. Kind of the plus side, right? But if I'm just playing a casual game, or what I don't like is when people play a game and then try and not hoist, but kind of like recommend their playstyle to everybody else. It's like, hey, you know, you across the world playing your game with your group, this is how you should do it. Be like, no. Rules is written is how I should do it. Now, I can do it any way I like, but... Okay, Jenny, what's your questions about snipers? I have recently become very versed in using snipers because I use them a lot now. I use snipers a lot now. Thanks to Conflict 47. So it's a good thing. Only on infantry or artillery for snipers. Which kind of sucks a little bit because with the Shabura rifle for the Imperial Japanese, you can actually punch through some stuff, right? You can actually punch through some armor. So if you're trying to go after those light walkers, you're not going to get that +1 to hit or that +1 to pin. Yeah. Snipers got good in Conflict 47, I'll say that, especially the Japanese ones. Yep. Now I say that, one game, Ginny, that game I played on the Mordheim board against the Soviets and his two big heavy walkers, even hitting on threes, my sniper could not hit. I rolled I honestly, I think I rolled like 3 or 4 1s and 2s. He hit, I want to say once, in a 5-turn game. Now, to be fair, I forgot about him in one of the turns because he was hidden so well and it's such a big board, I literally forgot he was there. So, he skipped a whole turn of shooting and that was my fault, not his. But on all the other ones, he was rolling 1s and 2s and it was heartbreaking. Especially when you're burning his rift dice for it. Oh, it hurts. Now, I will say, it's kind of cool. So, how the Shabura sniper works in Conflict 47 for the Japanese, where you can get 2 shots. If he hits, you know, and you burn the rift dice, he actually gets 2 shots that hit. That's awesome. It's kind of similar to how the AT rifle worked for the Imperial Japanese for bolt action, because it's now a 2-shot weapon. So that's also awesome. Don't just use your AT rifle for the Imperial Japanese in bolt action. Don't just use your AT rifle for vehicles like that. That thing can punch a effing hole in an infantry squad, especially a veteran squad, because you're rolling 2 dice, so you have a better chance of getting that hit. If you get 2 hits, that's awesome. You're gonna punch a serious hole in them. But even if you just hit once, that's still a +2 pin weapon. So you're really going to start wounding those veterans. I highly recommend the AT rifle for Imperial Japanese bolt action players. And the cool thing, I did it too, is you can put in extra crew member, like veterans, you know, so that makes it awesome. So you can have like a, I have like a 4-man, yeah, I have a 4-man AT rifle squad that are veteran with tough fighter. So, you know, you have 2 guys with, well, technically 3 guys with rifles and 1 guy with an AT rifle, but you know, he's a team weapon. So you can still move that squad and shoot 3 rifles, which is awesome. If you don't want to try and move and shoot the AT rifle. Actually, I'm sorry, the AT rifle does have fixed now, so that's the downside. So make sure you perch him in the exact, you know, line of sight you want, because he can't do the whole shoot anywhere. He's fixed now, so that's the downside to the 2 shots. But 2 shots is still 2 shots. You run like 1 or 2 of those, and it's almost just as good as the AA gun, you know. But this one, you actually have more. You have troops who can secure objectives and actually. The tough fighter can actually fight back, and they're fanatic too. So, Highly recommended. Definitely don't sleep on the AT rifle. Yeah, so I realized snipers were worth it in one. I was playing a small 500 point game at bolt action, and the Soviet guy brought a artillery observer, and I brought a sniper team. And the first turn, I killed his artillery observer with a sniper, and I'm like, you know what? Worth his points, that game. Snipers aren't that expensive, and they can get their points back pretty early, as long as they make their points back. Or, another good thing for snipers, I found, is that people don't manage their points well. Like I said, I think list building is very important. But if someone doesn't spend their points well and they take mortar teams that don't have spotters, like I said, a lot of times, like in this example, he was going to rely on his artillery observer as a spotter. So I shot that guy in the face. So now his medium mortar, which was behind a house, you know, had no spotter. So the first turn he had to move and try and move out from behind the house. So as soon as he moved from behind the house and I could put my sniper on him, I just started, you know, instead of going for NCOs and other squads, I just started peppering that mortar unit, you know, rendering it more and more combat ineffective. That is why the Tiki point exists. What's the Tiki point? Uh-oh. Are you talking about when you make a list like 1 point over just to drive me crazy? Oh, I swear to God, that drives me at the wall. I did that. I sent my nephew some orcs for his first army, you know? And I told Kurt, I'm like, yeah, this should be 500 points. I told him how to build the list. He's like, yeah, man, it's 500 points on the nose. It's like, that's impressive. I was like, no, that's what 500 points is. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, you're not even over like 5 or 10 points. Like, there's no such thing as over 5 or 10 points. It's either 500 or below. Oh, yep, RK did it. Oh, yeah, he knows. He knows that'll drive me insane. Need that redundancy. I used to use light mortars a lot, but I'm kind of scaling back on them. I'm not as big of a fan of them as I used to be. I think it's because smoke isn't as effective. So. Especially with the Imperial Japanese for Conflict 47 and the advantages you get for being in ambush behind cover. Using snipers, AT rifles, anti-tank guns, or tanks with anti-tank guns. It's a great little synergy to do. I highly recommend it. If you're running the Imperial Japanese for Conflict 47 and you have a couple points left over, I can't recommend enough an officer team with guts and his combat blade and maybe 2 guys with him, and then just a medium AT gun. It's not expensive. It's a great way to get more guts. And that medium AT gun with a gun shield. I mean, any small arms that shoot them, they're going to get that +1 benefit from being behind cover. There's no pennies anymore. Nice. Scribble Asians in your numbers. Yeah, Ginny, I'm the same way. Yeah, you can be under. That's perfectly fine. But if someone's over, I'm just and it's always I don't know. I'm not even gonna start that rant. I don't want to rant. It's all good. My preferences are my preferences. I don't expect them to hit anyone else's. Oh my god. I will not be baited. I know you are a master baiter, Cosmic, but I shall not be baited. You should go this far, sir? No further? This far? Salt-free stream feels good, yeah. That's what I try and go for. Now, like I said, it's close to the end of my work week, so I'm still kind of... As I go on and on, I get a little bit more and more tired. But no, I try to keep it salt-free. I'll tell funny stories, you know, like, hey, I had a game and you know, it didn't go the way I wanted or something like that, but... Nah. I try to keep it salt-free. Well, I think the important thing is... I think house ruling is really important, but you need a house. Like, metaphysically, if that makes sense, or an allegorical house. By house, I mean you need a group of local friends. This is why I think tabletop, like the tabletop simulator on Steam, it's cool to have, but why I generally don't play games on it, because it's hard to house rule when you have the entire internet, you know? Like, a good example, if you played, like, older games, me and my brothers would play, like, on the N64, right? So we're playing in our house with 3 controllers. So we played some games. Now, there's no online balance, you know, there's no update, or, no. So we know what character is OP, we'd be like, hey, you know, house rule, no one gets to play as, we'll say, like, Peach. Like, hey, no one can play as Peach in Mario Kart, right? We'll say she's overpowered or what have you. I think ours was like no one was allowed to play Scorpion in Mortal Kombat, or the Nuclear Knights and Battle Tanks, you know? We had like these house rules. It worked because we were in our house. It was our group. It was us, right? But if you like go off to college and you try and play like Mario Party or Mario Kart with someone, you're like, hey, no one can be Peach. That's the house rule. People are like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, never heard of that rule before in my life. So I think that's a problem with tabletop games becoming more and more prevalent as far as talking about them in online space. Is people try and take their house rules from wherever they are, you know, and try and tell the rest of the internet, hey, this is how you should play, because this is how my group plays. Yes, Cosmic, right? Is that not a blast from the past? Yeah. Yeah, we used to say no one was allowed to be the Nuclear Knights because they were OP. Gonna pay your Griffin, nice. I'm not sure what clan he's gonna choose, Quick Hunter Sean. So we'll see. I just recently changed my my ringtone for my family, like my brothers, to the opening theme for Battle Tanks. If you played the game, you know that theme, and it's just like instant, man. It's awesome. Yeah, and so oh man, I went a little too high. But I think that's the thing, and it's not sauce or anything like that. It's just understanding that people play games differently. I've always, you know me, I've always kind of been a proponent of narrative gaming, and it's not that I'm against competitive gaming. It's that I would never want a competitive person to have to play with narrative rules. I feel like that would drive them up the wall, and that's awesome. But by the same token, I don't want to play by competitive rules. So as long as that's okay the other way around, I'm totally happy. So as long as both people at the table are having fun and agreed upon the rules and want to be there, there's no real wrong way to play. Like, I walked into one of my local stores, the one that's not closing, and some kids were playing Warhammer 40k, or it looked like they were. Mostly unpainted models, or like mono-colored pink models, or what have you. And they had like some troops and some vehicles down. And so I was asking, I was like, oh, what are you guys playing? And they were playing a modified kill team, but they can bring in vehicles. I don't know how that worked, but I was like, huh, they were having fun. And I'm like, oh, that's all that matters. That's cool. So what I'm thinking is, I'm thinking with the popularity of standard format competitive Warhammer 40k, as far as standardized terrain, standardized rules, you know, data balancing for all the codexes every couple of weeks. I think people have gotten used to that mentality for all of tabletop wargaming, you know? Because I hear it, people are like, oh, we're not sure how to use Totem Core, like, we demand another FAQ, and I was like, you should get like an FAQ like once a year, or like, it's not a big deal. I never understood that. People are like, well, ask the developer what they meant. I was like, or just like figure it out, play it a couple times, and be like, huh, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, Squicker Sean is not wrong. That's why I was jokingly talking around about like the Tiki's tips to tabletop gaming. Like rule number 1 and 2 is shower the day of the event and put on deodorant. But like rules 3 and 4 was like read the book and paint your models. I feel like those 4 steps solve like 90% of the issues you run into at like major events. Yeah, that's the other thing too. I thought that was weird when people were like upset about the Totem Core, like, oh, they're gonna bring their guys back, like they're zombies. That's kind of what they do. That's why I was like, there are so many like powerful Rift models, like the Totem Core and the Shibita are not the ones I'm really worried about. Nice. I'll never forget. I think it was a game in 7th. I had a Valkyrie and I just like kicked it into like fly mode and not hover mode. And a guy wanted to assault me with his orc storm boys. And someone's like, "Oh, you can't storm a moving vehicle and that's flying." And I was like, "No, absolutely not." I was like, "No, go ahead." You know, because you remember that scene from Space Marine 1 when you're flying in the Valkyries and you're shooting all the storm boys off the other Valkyries. It's like, oh, please, dude, that is, you know, rule of cool. Like that's the most cinematic thing ever. That's awesome. Absolutely, you can assault me with your storm boys. All right, we're getting there. Step 5, stay up all night. No, I mean, that really was all it is first 2 is just hygiene, right? But the other one is like, as long as you read the books and paint your models. I feel like it alleviates a lot of the issues. But I feel like the more I try and get into war games, it's one of those things where it's like, when I was young, I didn't have the money, you know? And now that I'm older, you know, money's not the issue as much. Now it's time, right? And I'm like, oh my God, now I don't have the time to do it. And now that I try and get into it, and the big problem, and this is my fault, and I'm happy to say that I can recognize it. My fault is now that I try and play like I'm still, you know, 18 or my mid-20s. I still try and play like it's 4th or 5th or 6th edition, you know? I'm like, no, this is how it should be played. And I don't want people to tell me how it should be played, so I can't be doing the same. But like when people are like, oh, hey, let's ask, you know, AI the rules and see what it says. You know, let me look this up on Google. Or like, hey, you know, Wikipedia says this, or oh, Reddit says the rules should be like this. I'm like, I don't think that's, like, let's just look in the fucking rulebook. Like, we have the rulebook, like, just look in your codex and look at the rulebook. You know, I don't understand that. or the other one, so it's not a salty opinion, but I would actually really like some y'all's opinion, a little bit of pushback. Can someone, ironically, talk me through talking through your game? Because that's something I don't understand. I've seen it. I've been watching some battle reports. I've seen people talk through their final rounds. Maybe that's only at like an event where you have like a lot of games and you're physically tired, you know? But I feel like that's part of the event, is playing while you're tired, you know, like an added stressor. So what I mean by talking through events where it's like, oh, hey, you know, instead of just ending on turn 4 and shaking hands and calling it right there at whatever points are scored or something like that, people are like, oh, hey, let's talk through the last round of battle. You know, this guy could take that guy and score that objective and this and that. That's the part I don't get. So talk to me about the methodology of talking through battle rounds in a game where the whole engine is based off the dice mechanic. That is something I've seen that I do not comprehend. I think it's my old grognard gamer mind. I don't understand that. Like, if you're in a rush, I get it. You can always concede the game and walk away, or just shake hands and end it exactly at that point. See, I've never seen that, because... Yeah, that's how I am. Like, I'll absolutely roll it out. If someone's like, hey, you have... You know, hey, someone told me, like, hey, this guy kills that unit. I was like, what? I don't get any rolls? He's like, well, yeah, you have your invulnerable save. He's like, yeah, but that's 25 invulnerable saves. I'm like, well, let's see. I was like, why not? Like, it's a game where not only do we buy dice, but a lot of us spend money on like personalized dice for our faction. Like, why would you not want to roll dice? It's strange. It's like, oh, you really want to roll that out? Like, yes, it's a dice-based game. I would like to roll my click-clack math rocks. And see, I don't know, maybe this is me, but I don't agree with that. If you only have 15 minutes, then, you know, you have 15 minutes to get something done before it's, like, dice down. It's almost like it's like an engagement time. Or like a hard deck or hard line, like, hey, you cannot engage, hey, you cannot shoot the enemy past the 38th parallel line, or hey, you know, ceasefire goes into effect at midnight. You know, you have rules of engagement. So you play as best of your ability up until the rules of engagement, up until it's dice down. Like, that's your hard dice down, cease engagement. Yeah, Square Gunner Shine, yeah, time management is part of it. Because here's the other thing. Let me offer this bit of advice here. Or not advice, let me offer this critique. Some of us are more gregarious than others. I like to talk, as you guys can tell. I do a stream all about talking and shittily painting. You know, clearly I'm not here for my painting skill. I like talking, right? I'm a social creature. I like to run around, crack jokes, and talk to people, right? Some people are not very skilled sociably, but they really enjoy, you know, tabletop wargaming. So if a policy is like talk through the last round, doesn't that possibly give an advantage to the more social and I guess more charisma-based player, you know? That would be like saying, hey, for the last round, let's see who can do, like, as many deadlifts as possible. You're like, well, it's clearly going to be an advantage towards the guy who's in shape. Giga what? No, not Giga, when I'm saying gregarious. I'm not anything, I'm just very chitty and chatty. I didn't say I agree. I just explained. No. I get it, Jenny. I'm not saying that you agree. I appreciate the explanation. Yeah, but can you have house rules at a tournament? Because what if one player doesn't talk stuff out, so the other player is getting points easier than the other player? You see what I'm saying? Greg, who? No, you're fine. Yeah, I think it's a Giga. No, gregarious, like very social, chatty, chatterbox. Yeah, gentlemen's agreements, I guess. I don't know. When it comes to I appreciate the back and forth all gamer dad. Like I said, I don't think I'm right. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just kind of curious, like what everybody else's mentality is, because I'm stuck in my own head with my own thoughts all day long, right? So I love hearing other people's thoughts and opinions as well. Because they have a good point. I mean, I'm not always steadfast in what I do. I'm happy to think about it. It's just something. It's something I'm starting to see in videos that I just didn't comprehend where it came from or what it's about. But I also understand people are busy, you know? Like, I generally only wargame on days that I'm off, you know, so I have all day. But I understand some people don't have that either. I just thought the idea of it was kind of weird. Like, hey, you're talking out how, like, what the average dice roll would be. I was like, that's not how dice work. Yeah, I see what you're saying, Squid. I mean, I see what you're saying, Squid Hunter. Yeah, I agree with that. I'm like, that's kind of weird. But also, I think it's just my stubborn mentality. Like, as long as you're not pressed for time, like, if you have your family waiting on you, that's fine, whatever. But if you don't, if we have all day to game, I'm gonna fight you to the last model. I'm talking to the last unit, to the last model, to the last dice, to the last turn. I am gonna fight you everywhere we go. Unless we physically have to leave. Now, if we have to leave, then I'll shake your hand and we'll call the game exactly where it is. Like, exactly on the downbeat of whatever it is. Then we're good to go, you know. But I don't like this whole, like, hey, let's end it, but then talk through the rest of it. It's either fight to the last man, or you gentleman's agreement, you handshake, and that's index. That's, you know, cease engagement. But it's my opinion. Yeah, it's not always right. Oh yeah, that's what you're saying. Yeah, Sherlock Holmes is pretty good. I like that. Cosmic, you can be 1 point over, but I swear to God, I will fight to the last model. I don't care if it's like 14 hours in. I will put in a double horseshoe of like Copenhagen long cut with like ground coffee and chewing espresso beans. I will stay awake just to fight you to the last model. We did close down a store arcade. We absolutely did. He's like, you haven't changed since first grade. Colin's like, I look forward to it. Absolutely. The Tiki point. Oh my God. I swear to God. I feel like that's something so silly that it may actually take off one day and then everyone's going to refer to it as a Tiki point. And the worst thing is people are going to think I'm the guy who likes to go 1 point over instead of the other way around. And I'll like forever go in like the lexicon of wargaming as a Tiki point. And people always think that I'm the asshole trying to sneak 1 point over. I really hope that doesn't take off. I will hate you forever. I will haunt you in your dreams, RK. If that takes off, I'm blaming you. But yeah, Cosmic, hold me to it, man. Keep me abreast of the dates and everything for the next Adepticon, and I'll actually try and make it out there. If I'm in better shape, I'll even try and cosplay with you. I'll dress up like one of my orcs. Matthew, don't you dare! Don't you put that don't you put that evil out there, or don't you put that evil on me? Don't put that in the universe. Same thing, Jenny. Oh my God! A tabletop wargamer who likes to talk out and known for talking out his last turns. I always showed up to events with 1 point over. I'm just painting a little bit off camera. I'm just doing the faces. Just kind of doing dry brushing on the faces. A little more delicate. There it is. That's the Tiki point. No, squid face. We're not doing that. No. I swear to God, the next Clash of the Caribbean we're gonna do, everybody's gonna have a fucking Tiki point. Oh goddamn! Now I'm using it. Son of a bitch. I hate you all. I'll burn the stream down. I'll run. I just imagine that scene from Patriot. What was it? Cornwall's like, damn him, damn that man. Oh. But yeah, I guarantee the next Clash of the Caribbean, everybody's gonna have that. So let me take an unofficial poll here. I'm not holding anybody to anything, so don't freak out. Who would be interested in attending the next Clash of the Caribbean? A 2-day cruise sailing from Florida to the Caribbean. Likely from Florida to the Bahamas. Just trying to gauge interest, because what I want to know is how do we want to plan it? Because I always try and go off peak. Not only is it more affordable, but also the ship's a little not as full, so nobody's using the library. So what works better for you guys? Like winter time? Totally understandable, Jenny. No, what I say in the future. So if you guys don't know, you can ask RK. Like I plan shit like a year in advance at the minimum. So yeah, this is like way far out. Oh, makes sense. Yeah, ironically, it's also the price. So what I can say, if you get and you can ask RK what he ended up doing and some other people, but if you get a cabin, like a non-window cabin, about midships, mid deck, and the only upgrade I really recommend is the express check-in, express checkout. That's kind of nice. It's not required. Your plane ticket's probably going to be like twice or 3 times as much as your cruise ticket. Yeah, I hear you, Matthew. That's the hard part. But on the plus side, I said, you factor in travel, even if you're flying, that's about, at maximum, it's maximum like 4 days. You think flying there 2 days on and then flying home, that's 4 days. I mean, that still burns your PTO and your leave, but it's only 4 days. It's better than like a whole like 7-day vacation and shit like that. You can try and sneak on board. It won't work. That security is tight, surprisingly. Alright, well, just think about it, like I said. Squidfish, you're talking about my couch? That's absolutely not how maritime security zones work. They absolutely will. Ironically, as a I don't want to dox what you do for a living, Cosmic, But as part of your job, you may actually have a TWIC card. No worries. Well, the doctor's way more important, Jenny. I hope he's doing well. Truly, way more important. But like I said, it went off pretty well the first time. So I'd like to definitely do it again. I've been talking to people about doing like other style events, and I was really thinking about it. I'm like, I think it's better just to focus on one type, and leave everything else open for other people. I think that's the kind of event I'd like to be known for. And then apparently it's going to be a tradition that everybody has a Tiki point on their army list. Shoot, if you catch the trash. You'll have to share with my dogs, and they don't share. Yeah, so that is the thing we do. We do keep it small, so it'll be like probably what I think I'll do in the future is I'll probably do 1 day of bolt action and 1 day of conflict 47. So the first day will probably be 500 points of bolt action, and the second day will be 750 points of conflict 47. The reason why, they can tell you, it keeps the game small, it keeps the table size small. It's also easier to transport for those flying and stuff like that. Like, I brought a whole ass suitcase, like a full fucking suitcase. Usually I travel with a backpack. I hate suitcases. I hate heavy traveling. But I brought a whole ass rolling suitcase, like something you would stuff like a dead body in to escape a convention at a hotel without arousing suspicion, that kind of thing, with a industrial strength rollies on the bottom. But the whole massive suitcase, like fully extended everything, was just filled with terrain. That was just to have enough terrain to do like 3 tables. So like that was a cool thing when the crew walked by. They looked in the library, like, because I'd get there like an hour before we started playing, and just start transforming the tables. Like where did you get all this? I was like, this is my suitcase. Like, what? But the biggest thing is always leave room in your stuff for prize support, as there's generally always going to be 3 prizes. Most talented, most Tiki, and most tactical. I can look it up. I can look it up what it would be like right now and give you an estimate. But usually, I would say budget for about $250 per person. Maybe. Yeah, I'd say about $200, $250 to cover incidentals and like fuel charges and shit like that. I'd say about $250 per person. So yeah, 2 people, I'd say the cruise will probably run you 500 or under. And now that's all your food too, so. And that's me overestimating. So you have like a chow hall that's open during certain hours, and it's like a buffet style thing. Come and get what you want. And then you also have, like a omelet bar, a panini sandwich bar, and like a pizza bar. You can get like whatever slices you want. And then you can pay for upgrades. Oh, there's also the actual dining hall. You can actually go to a nice sit down dinner every night if you like. That's also part of your ticket. You can always upgrade. You can go to the steakhouse part, or you can go get sushi, but you have to pay for that. Yeah, that's the best part about Cosmic, because you still get plenty of time with your spouse, so it's kind of like a built-in vacation. So I'm always going to talk it up every stream, because I'm proud. I did a lot of planning, like a lot of thinking into it, like thinking it into creation. And when it actually happened, I couldn't believe it actually happened. Like, I couldn't believe we actually pulled it off, all of us together. I was so happy about it. It was so cool. It's like I've gone so far from like the swimming laps in a pool, like thinking about like what it would do, what it would be like, you know. So it's really cool to see that event take off. It's so unique. But yeah, that's the other reason why I designed it too. You know, if your spouse games or if they don't game, either way they can come with you. The people there, they saw my wife, Miss Tiki, she was having a grand old time. She showed up every now and then, like cheered us on, and then she'd dip out and go do something else, massages or something else. But no, so I do the awards I give, it's not for like winning. It's for it's most tactical, most talented, and most tiki. So most tactical is everyone's gonna vote like who had the coolest like maneuver during the whole event, like who pulled off something really cool, you know. I mean, like one guy charging and like an officer with a katana charging and killing an entire heavy machine gun team, you know, or something crazy like that, right? And then there's the most talented. Most talented is kind of like best painted, but we also take into account, you know, theming and kit bashing. And again, everybody votes on that as well. And then most tiki is the big award. You know, that's where you get like the best swag, and that's for most best sportsmanship, which I always think is the most important award. You know, like who was like the person. And again, we all vote on that ourselves. So that's how I always do my prize support. Nice. Yeah, I'm glad you like it, Arcade. I try to make it worth people's visit, you know? Help trying to offset the price of all the traveling and things like that. I try to do cool stuff. I will say, the cool thing, because now the kind of cat's out of the bag since we've already done it and I'm working on the video. So the really cool thing, or I think it's cool, is when you show up the first time and you put your armies out, and we do kind of like armies out parade, we look at each other's armies. There's a tiki mask out there, like an actual wooden tiki mask, and so you get a silver Sharpie, and everybody signs the tiki mask, and it's titled like the one we did was you know, Clash of the Caribbean 25, and we all signed the tiki mask, right? We signed it with a silver Sharpie. So what the people didn't know is whoever won the most tiki award, you got your bag of swag, but you also take home that tiki mask for that event. So it's kind of like an award you can hang up as well, instead of like a piece of paper that says like Warlord Games, you know, stereotypical, write in name here. You get a fucking wooden tiki mask with everybody's signature from the event. So it's kind of cool. Oh yeah, man. And like I said, when I release that video costume, you'll get to see pictures from us being there and what all we did. It was a blast, man. I'll do a full recap. Yeah, just no real candles, right? Here we have the Tiki powers. You can have the Tiki point. Nah, like I said, the cool thing and the big benefit of it, to sell it is that you don't have to worry about driving or like, you know, your hotel being far away from the event or security getting into the event or, you know, it's pretty cool. Everything's all right there. You know, like once you're there, like once you sign in, like you're good for the next couple of days. Let's set it again. Alright, we're doing well on skin. We're almost there. Nice. No, because you're not driving anywhere. You can't really get a DUI. I think technically, I mean, you can't get arrested for being intoxicated. The worst they could, the worst that they'll do, as long as you're not being violent, like as long as you're not like breaking shit or hurting people, if you get super drunk, they'll probably have security escort you back to your room, and just make sure you like go to your room and be like, hey, drink water, don't die. If you go absolutely ham and start like breaking bottles behind the bar, they'll probably put you in the brig, and yeah, the ship has a brig. They'll put you in the brig, and then when you get to your port of call, they'll let you know how much they're going to charge you. See you all in the brig. Walk the plank and get too drunk. No, this cruise encourages drinking. So, with it being more of a classic style ship, there's not a lot of like modern amenities, but they make up for it with bars. Like, you were never probably more than 10 steps from a bar. I feel like when Cosmic comes, it's gonna go down like the next episode or the next movie of Hangover. You know, where we're all gonna like wake up in the brig, like, what happened? Why am I missing a tooth? Whose baby is this? We did go in October, which is kind of cool. They had like the haunted sailings like that. So they had like costume parties and shit. That was pretty cool. Some of the crew had nice costumes. I saw that. I was like, hey. Oh man, I didn't realize the time. I'm sitting here chitting and chatting, man. We're like well past our usual cutoff time. Let me finish up this skin tone, and I'll shut the stream down. I was over here not even paying attention to the time. Like, yeah, we'll do it from 1 to 3, and it's like 3:30, and I'm over here still painting. Daylight Savings Time TV. Oh wait, did it? Are you guys being serious? Am I just being an asshole here? Spring forward. Oh, okay. Oh, all right. So yeah, we'll call it at 4. Okay, yeah, fair enough. All right, yeah, we'll call it at 4. We still got a little while. Yeah, Squidfist. One of these days, man, we'll make it out. We'll make it out to your neck of the woods, man. That'd be great. I would love to do some wargaming in Hawaii. My wife and I need another visit out there. We had a lot of fun our first time. So when we go back out there the second time, man, I will make a point to come out and visit you no matter what island you're on. Don't dox yourself, but no matter what island you're on, I'll make a point to come out there and we'll get some gaming in. Alright, who's next? Who's next? There we go. The one with all the water. Pretty good. No, I don't know about bringing my Imperial Japanese Army to Hawaii. I don't even think I'm that. I wouldn't want to be that insensitive. That would be an event where I'd probably bring like my Fortune Hunters, like my Monuments Men army that I'm making. Oh. But yeah, I'm excited for Second Army Syndrome that's brewing. I think Necromunda Vice is going to be pretty cool. I even picked up a couple models off Etsy to like kind of kit bash for like Captain Crockett and Inspector Tubbs. It's gonna be pretty good. I'll be leaning real heavy into cyberpunk and, you know, chasing that whole like vapor wave, you know, neon this and that. Using a lot of House Escher gangs. Finish the job, Tiki. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'd be like, this time we're going for that damn fuel dump. Alright, we're still just painting flesh tones, trying to get all these guys ready for the tabletop in like a day or two. Yeah, we're being very messy here, just going fast. We'll go back over and fix the details here. Shit, I'm so sorry. I think someone did post this in chat. I can go back and look. But did we ever come up with a good consensus on how to do a Necromunda urban basing? I think RK said something. I'll go back and just scroll the whole chat if he did. You don't have to say it again, RK. You can just let me know you already said it. I'll go back and find it. Yeah, I think I'll use the AK terrain asphalt for like the big vehicle like bases, you know, for like the Ridge Runners or whatever they're called, you know, and the bikes. I think for the guys, I'll do like small urban stuff. I was thinking about getting like a real small, actually Squigger or Sean, you'll know all about this. Getting real small, almost like fine-sized plastic chicken wire, and cutting that to make like almost like sewer grates, kind of, you know, and paint those like rusty metal and put those down. Oh yeah, I have some of that actually. A small sea wire. Yeah, I'm building the that's why we're talking about the event. I'm building the prize support bags for Once Upon a December. So for the most talented, I try to stick to like talented stuff. You know, like I think last time was like brushes and like one model or something like that. You know. So So I think. Oh yeah, I think for most tactical, what they get? Oh, that they got. They got 2 universal carriers. That cracked me up. I was like, oh, if you're good at thinking on your feet, you'll find good use for these. Oh, nice, nice, yeah. One of the prize supports, I just collected all like the little single models I got, you know, all the limited event stuff, and I put them in there. I had some pretty cool ones. I think I had like, I had the American General from the Bulge. I had Aldo Apache. No? No, they get the good stuff. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Squig or Sean. Something I kind of wanted to do is like for some of my vehicle bases, I wanted to try and do like actual like I have to do a lot more reading. I've read a couple books that have that take place in the city, but I don't think they do traffic lights. But I'm gonna try and find like some kind of way to do like neon lights, I think, on the bases. Ginny, just take bolt action cavalry units. It's like I'm still paying Cosmic. Don't let RK lie to you. I have this mental image in my head of RK just sitting there, absolutely grinning. As we sat there, drink after drink, rolling dice and just making jokes. I can still see that man smiling. His soft chuckle laugh with a big old grin on his face. Yeah, definitely expand upon that a little bit, Squig, Sean, if you don't mind. I'm definitely looking for your tutorage on a cool. Now remember, it has to be something sophomoric that an amateur like me can do. You know how shitty I am. That sounds awesome, Cosmic. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. If I go with you to a Adepticon, I'll play some games at Comic 47. But literally, you're gonna have to bring a crowbar and pry my fat ass away from the Gasland tables. I will literally play Gaslands until I pass out. I fucking love that game so much. And I imagine there's probably some awesome tables for it at Adepticon. Ginny, I am not skilled. I paint. I have low expectations and low effort, and I paint quantity over quality, and I'm okay with that. I'm not trying to be like, oh, but praise me anyways. Fill me with good words. Nah, I know what I'm about. Hit me up offline. I'm in the bases. Thanks for your Sean. It's a very base take. I appreciate it. Nah, yeah, I would love to. No, the way particularly you throw lighting is really cool. I've seen it in a lot of your work, like in your Zone Metalis board and on your kill scenes and stuff like that. So yeah, I would love to try and learn how to do that and like throw some like soft neon lighting, you know, like on the road in front of them. That'd be fucking tits. Hey, CB Cooper, what's going on, brother? My man, how's it going? CB Cooper. We are painting and trying to get all these native militia riflemen ready for a game on Tuesday. Yeah, I'll transfuse the same ring. Nice, I like that. Red definitely makes it go faster. I do love some good Arma, man. I haven't played Arma in a while. Yeah, everybody's all here, man. I'm like I said, that's one of the coolest things, and I'm very humbled by it, and I know I'm very lucky. I was just thinking about it last night before I went to sleep. I was so happy that I disappeared with very little explanation. Yeah, I disappeared for like 3-4 months. I come back, and within like my first, second, and third stream, like everybody's already back. That is like unheard of, and that's awesome. I thoroughly love it. Yeah, Cooper's Company's, other than the original Octopus song, Cosmic, I think, oh no, that's right, Kepic Eagle did Cooper's Company. I thought you did, I'm sorry. I do love the Cooper's Company song, it's pretty cool. And there's also that lyric now about Tiki with the banner of the rising sun, and I actually have that now. So there is a Tiki model with a rising sun. So that's pretty cool. No. Don't you convince another one. There is no such thing as a Tiki point. There will never be a Tiki point. The Tiki point doesn't exist. Don't be first the octograph. It's like, no, that's not what I said. I think that's all the skin tone, actually. Nice. Nice, there's just a few minutes left. Alright, cool. So I think that's my painting for this room. It may not seem like much, but we got all the skin tones on them, which is actually pretty cool. So I'm actually pretty happy with that. No, Ginny, you're all good. No, I'm totally happy. I have a Tiki model as well. A Brood Brother Tiki kid. I made a spearman with it. Oh, CB Cooper, I'm sorry. I think you missed some of the best news. So I'm getting, I guess, second army syndrome, kind of. My brother's starting a second army, so I'm like, let me look around. And I was bored the other day, so literally, I was moving some boxes of models around, and I knocked some stuff off the top of my cabinet shelf, and shit you not, the Gene Stealer Codex for 8th edition fell down or 9th edition. It hit me in the shin. So I was like, oh shit, yeah. So I started reading through it again. I was like, I kind of missed the Gene Stealer cult. So I may actually be building a very small Gene Stealer cult army as well. I've been toying around with like what kind of theme I want to do. Since my orcs are very Mad Max, like Evil Sons, Cult of Speed. I don't want to do the I originally want to do Rusty Claw, but I don't want to do that. So I already did it with the orcs. So I think what I'm going with CB Cooper is I'm going to lean into the whole Miami Tiger Stripe, and I'm going to go with Necromunda Vice for my Gene Stealer cult. So I'm pretty excited to do that. Lots of, some guys are going to be in like leisure suits. There's going to be a lot of House Escher, Necromunda gang girls in there, metal bikinis and stuff like that. We're going like full cyberpunk style, vaporwave, like neon colors, or like neon colored hair. It's gonna be pretty cool. A lot of guys wearing like trench coats, stuff like that. It's pretty neat. So I'm pretty excited for it. Building out the lore is gonna be fun. You know, they're gonna be like, yeah, like not very trusting. Like the last thing they want is those damn RBDs coming down and pushing in the imperial law. You know, like we like local law, like dealing with all the reason why I say House Escher, because you know they push a lot of the drugs as well, so it kind of makes sense. So they kind of gone in and kind of started stabilizing Necromunda. But they found the only way to actually find peace, because everybody, the higher up you go, is corrupt. So the lower down you go, you start running into the Gene Stealer cult. So, you know, instead of arresting these guys and them just getting out, or, you know, someone fubbing the paperwork or someone interfering, when they find criminals, they just take them down and give them to the cult. And just turn them into additional Necromunda Vice people. So that's kind of what I'm thinking of. Yeah, that's exactly, yeah. So that's what got me CB Cooper. I was looking on Etsy and I saw some of the old. I was looking on the internet like Daka stuff, and I saw some old Gene Stealer cult vehicles, and they're like pip sleds. They're like badass armored limousines. I was like, that's what I'm fucking talking about. Like the whole Red Faction 2 mining thing. It's cool. Don't get me wrong, but I like that. Like I'm liking the whole mob scene. I'm like, this is awesome. So I think that's definitely the way I'm going to lean into it. So I went on Hero Forge. I did like a mock-up of like a typical like Gene Stealer like neophyte, you know, and I started messing around with the coloring, seeing what I'm looking at. So I have a new codex coming in, and I ordered a couple models for Etsy. So that's the other cool thing, is that it looks like it carried over from 9th. It looks like there's a few new ones, like some dude with a big brain, looks like half Xenomorph, which is kind of cool. But it looks like there's a shit ton of heroes, which is cool, because they're all kit bashable, you know? So I'm like, oh, I can kit bash that. That's kind of cool. And again, it fits the play style how I used to like to play my Imperial Japanese and Bull Texas 2nd Edition, like a very GLA, you know, Command and Conquer General style. So we'll see. I like having two armies. I like having my absolutely Mad Max speed freak orcs, and then having a sneaky beaky little GSC army. That's kind of cool. Yeah, so, that's it. Well, one car is going to have to be, like, all white, you know, like a Testarossa, so. Yeah, it's definitely going to be... I'm going to do Captain Crockett as my Primus, and then I think I found a really cool detective. He has, like, an orb in his hands, and I think that's going to be my Nexus, you know, instead of the hollow map, he has, like, a little map in his hands. That's going to be Investigator Tubbs. Yeah, so that's the thing too. Yeah, I was really tempted to squid for this when I first saw it. I was like, hell yeah, Rusty Claw Outlander thing. Let's go for it. Let's absolutely. I was looking at Necromunda Ashland models, because I wanted to go for like more of the buzzards from the Mad Max Fury Road movie. I was like, let's absolutely go that style. That sounds really cool. And then I looked at Rusty Claw, and their main color for like their uniform is orange, and I was like, my orcs are orange, and my orcs are also very Mad Max. And I'm like, you know what? Let me diversify a little bit. And I was honestly stuck. I was like, I didn't know what to do until earlier. I was hanging out and just listening to music, and ironically enough, it actually clicked for me too. I even paused it and told my wife, like, oh holy shit, I figured it out. So I was thinking around, I was toying around, I was looking at pictures of Gene Stealer Cult and stuff like that. And then Phil Collins, I Could Hear It in the Air Tonight, oh man, dude, that came on. I'm like, you know what? That's it. That's exactly it. I went back to the pictures. I looked at the limos. You know, I looked up some other models. You know, some RBD stuff, the Enforcers. I'm like, yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go Necromunda Vice.
So
between the book falling and hitting me in the shin, and then me being stuck on how I actually want to paint them, and then finally hearing the song of all songs come. Yeah, so that's what I'm going. I'm going for like all the dystopian cyberpunk style vibes. So it's gonna be a Necromunda, but a lot more kind of cyberpunk style vibes. Like a lot more any movie that kind of came out in the 90s that I thought the future would be. I'm talking like huge mohawks and shit like that. It's gonna be great. The reason why I'm excited for this army is I like that there's so many specialized characters that it's really going to give me a chance to kind of kit bash. I'm really excited about that. Like, there's this cool model, one of the models I ordered on Etsy. It's a, it looks like a House Escher ganger girl, but she's like mixing chemicals, like mixing drugs. I was like, that's going to be my like biomancer or whatever. I was like, that's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, Cosmic, you're getting it. That's exactly the kind of vibe we're going for. Like, you know, so that's the thing. What they call Fallout. Fallout is retrofuturism. I know it sounds like a silly term, but that was the Fallout aesthetic. It's like, what would the future look like to someone who was in the 50s, right? So same thing. We're going for a retrofuturistic grimdark style thing. So it's like we're going for what the 90s and early 2000s thought the future would look like. Yeah, it's very Judge Dredd, you know, yeah, Judge Dredd, RoboCop, Demolition Man, Blade Runner, all that stuff. Yep. But also limited to my painting style, so I'm gonna do the best I can, but we'll see where we're going. So it's gonna be pretty neat. I have tons of models to kit bash. I'm also looking at models from Stargrave, you know, all their mercenary and crew and stuff like that. So we'll see how it all turns out. I'm pretty excited. I'll be mixing in other models in between, like the other neophytes, gonna make it all blend in. All right, not a bad stream, not a bad stream. We got some painting in. Apparently there's a time shift, which that's all right. It happens. And I'm loving that banner. I think my wife knocked it out of the park. I'm super happy about that. I'm excited to put it on the tabletop. I meant to get more painted during the day, but I worked on terrain. Like I said, I built these huge like bases. I built like, oh man, I don't even know. I'll have to go back and count. It was a shit. I think I went through 40, yeah, I went through 40 trees, so breaking that down to at least probably 10 or 12 of those bases. It was a lot. Baskin Robbins of future fantasy, nice. Be ready soon. I like it. I like it. All right, so hopefully, I said it was a good weekend too. We streamed a little bit earlier yesterday. We got a lot of stuff done, which is kind of cool. We also had some new people subscribe, which is always kind of fun. Always good to see. We kept it salt free. We didn't really beef at all. We talked about rules interpretations, you know, and I passed on my theory about how, you know, rules as written is pretty good, and there's nothing wrong with house ruling, but house ruling implies a house, so it's a local area with local friends. I think people started getting into some disagreements when people watch other people on the internet around the world, and people halfway across the world have their own house rule, and that's fine, but then they say that's how everybody should play it based upon their house rule. So I think it's been running into a lot of discrepancies, particularly with Conflict 47. Conflict 47, not the best written rulebook, but you know, I think we're running into some stuff. There's no such thing as a Tiki point. You shut your mouth. And I gushed about Clash of the Caribbean and how we're going to do it again, so that was pretty cool. Alright, well, I know some of you guys are at work, and I know some of you guys are at gym, but for those of you who are about to go to sleep, I hope you truly get the sleep you deserve. I hope it's like one of those things where you wake up a little bit before your alarm, and you get that really good stretch where you pop your back, and then you roll over, and you realize it's like 30 minutes before your alarm, so you can actually go back to sleep for a little bit. I hope you get that. For those of you guys who are going to work, I hope you show up, and I hope somebody actually brought donuts for everybody, and no one took the actual donut that you want. And as always, stay safe, stay hydrated, and don't forget to relax today, because you're on Tiki Time.
Shipwrecked soldiers on wooden sand, time to the rifles in hand. Hula gals with sunburned smiles, no war drums, just beach for miles. Ghost park by Tiki lights, shadows dance in tropic nights. Sand beneath where boots once stood, paradise ain't so misunderstood. Lost in waves and hula tunes, tiki drinks and months of moons. Forgot the fight in distant lands, just surf and play with tired hands. Bunkers built from palm and hope, coconuts and crude soap. Imperial dreams fade in sun, warriors turn beach bums. Shine to ocean gods we raise, praying for forgotten days. Sake in the campfire glow, life's a surfboard, ebb and flow. Lost in waves and hula tunes, tiki drinks and months of moons. Forgot the fight in distant lands, just surf and play with tired hands. Lost in waves and hula tunes, tiki drinks and months of moons.